e fia le ngana, o ma whai fōi o le tātou au ai mo le sui ambasa, o le tātou paanga ma mai o malo, o saina le akionga ia Chen Chu, e whakapea le mamalo matua, ma wōnga o le mai si fōi o paanga le universite. Awhi fia mai, ma liu mai, wa amata fōi o na waaia le whetu so polangi o te maloa. Ma ua whaliu fōi le lai o na tau o fiafi, ai ua mawalunga le nei whaamoe moe, o na o loa tau mamalo. Deputy Head of Mission and Council of the People's Republic of China's Embassy to Samoa, Ms. Cheng Chun, distinguished guests, parents, students, colleagues and friends. On behalf of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Iono Alec Ekroma, and the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Dr. Pistali Desmond Mihan, the staff and students of the National University of Samoa, I welcome you all to the certificate awarding ceremony for the second Chinese community language course. The first one was in May. We are pleased that you are here with us to witness our students' wonderful achievement. Welcome to NUS, welcome to the Papagaonau campus. And without further ado, I now call upon the Vice Chancellor, Professor Iono Alec Ekroma, for his opening remarks.
Ngā ia so mātou reo awa o le whanatonu, le malama I le aongo le nei aso le ngā Whakabritania. Your Excellency, Councillor Zhang Jun, Deputy Head of Mission, Chinese Embassy in Samoa, distinguished guests, NUS staff, students, good to see my fellow students, because I was also a student in one of these classes, and ladies and gentlemen. So, why learn Chinese? That's a good question, isn't it? And I think we all have personal reasons why we want to learn Chinese. For me, it was in order to communicate with the builders, Chinese builders who built 4 of my buildings. There were only 2 people in that construction company who could speak English. Everyone else spoke Chinese, and there were a few Samoans there. So it was very important for me to try to communicate to the Chinese workers when the 2 English-speaking staff were not present. But some of you study Chinese because you're affiliated with the Chinese community in one reason or another. Your parents may be Chinese, so you grew up with the Chinese community. There are many reasons why you want to learn Chinese. But the other reason why it's important to learn Chinese is because there's 1.9 billion people who speak Chinese. They say that Chinese is the second largest language in the world. Well, in fact, after English, probably Chinese is the largest language in the world. So it's very important to know how to speak Chinese or learn the language. And also there's an increasing number of Chinese people in Samoa, Chinese business people, workers. And so it's very important to communicate with them. But also, Chinese is the language of trade. Not so long ago, we learned how to speak, in schools, we learned how to speak French. And that was because there were many French colonies in the Pacific. And then we learned how to speak Japanese. And that was because Japan was the country of trade. But nowadays, it's China. China is the country of trade now. Most of the goods that we use in Samoa are from China. So it is certainly a language to learn or to understand. And of the increasing number of Chinese in Samoa, they actually have learned Samoan. So you walk into a trade store and you see a Chinese-looking person there and you think that they don't speak Samoan. And you speak to them in English and they speak back to you in Samoan. So that's fantastic. They've taken the the opportunity to learn Samoan, and I think that some of us should take the opportunity to learn Chinese. So I'd like to thank the Confucius Institute for the funding that has come to NUS to enable these community courses. Because without funding from China, we wouldn't be able to fund this. And we thank our teachers, Samoans themselves, who speak fantastic Chinese. Sometimes I wonder whether they were probably born in China, because they have all the mannerisms. Even the little sort of, it's all Chinese. So I'd like to thank them for enthusing the students, those of us who were in the class, to learn Chinese. And I'd like to thank all the students as well, my fellow students who have taken the time, the energy, the effort to learn Chinese. And I know some of you are now progressing on to stage 2 or stage 3, and that's fantastic. I wish I could progress on to stage 2, but I decided really that I'm going to learn piano. It's my next venture. So again, I'd like to thank all the 16 students who have graduated with the basic course in Chinese of Times 4.
Hello, 大家好. Anybody can understand what I'm saying? True friendship brings people close, however far apart they may be. It gives me great pleasure to attend the certificate awarding ceremony for the Chinese Community Language course of the Confucius Institute at the National University of Samoa, and meet all of you here. First of all, let me take this opportunity on behalf of the Chinese Embassy to express warm congratulations on the graduation of the 16 students, and also high regards to those being dedicated for the Chinese education in Samoa. Both China and Samoa has a long history and splendid culture. People-to-people and cultural exchanges have been part and parcel of our bilateral relations. In recent years, the two sides have made fresh progress in many areas, including the Chinese education. Thanks to our good collaboration, the Confucius Institute in Samoa was opened in 2018 and has since produced about 600 ambassadors promoting China-Samoan friendship. As a result of this, the friendship between our two peoples has deepened. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, in 2020, our world went through a pandemic and global changes, both of a scale and seen in a century. It was truly an extraordinary year for both China and the world. Facing the devastating impact of COVID-19 and the complex international environment, under the strong leadership of the Communist Party of China, China was the first to contain the virus, to pursue international cooperation against COVID, and to reopen the economy safely, and to restore economic growth. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, this year marks the 100th anniversary of the Communist Party of China. At the ceremony marking the centenary of the Communist Party of China on July 1st, His Excellency Secretary General of CPC and President of China Xi Jinping proudly and solemnly declared, through the continued efforts of the whole party and the entire nation, China has realized the first centenary goal of building a moderately prosperous society in all respects. This means what? This means that we have brought about a historic solution to the problem of absolute poverty in China. Having emerged from poverty and weakness to the second largest economy in the world. And now, we are marching in the confident strides toward the second centenary goal of building China into a great modern socialist country in all respects. Nowadays, China also bears small responsibilities for promoting global development and addressing international challenges, contributing to the global endeavor of tackling COVID-19 and tracing origins of the virus. In order to build a community of shared future for mankind, China is always willing to share its achievements and experience with people from other countries. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, as the old Chinese saying goes, friendship derives from close contact between the people and holds the key to some state-to-state relations. Language is the key not only to unlock the code of communications and understandings between peoples, but to explore more opportunities of self-development. By now, Chinese is spoken by the largest number of people in the world, and there are more than 20 million overseas Chinese learners. I believe by learning Chinese, you will be more capable of communicating with the world and remain at a more favorable situation to achieve success. Mastering the Chinese language will bring out of you not only the chances of tapping into the potential of tremendous Chinese market, but also resources to pursue your dreams in various fields. At last, I would like to end by commending the good work of the Confucius Institute at NUS and wish the students present today will embrace more opportunities in the future and contribute more to China's modern friendship. 发飞台。
She's our top student.
Mr. Alex Joseph, make a round of applause. Dylan Ahim, Lin Yunlong. Marta César Samuel Mathesis. Ceremonial suaka, semansaka, Gloria Takazawa, 宽容。 Malia Talakai Maria. Thank you. So that wraps up the class part A. So now we're moving on to our class CCL 002, which is Chinese for Beginners Part B. What's on your favorite? Oh, sorry. So Sonia is Dean of Arts, so she heads up our department. So our student here is what's Sonia favorite? Sonia. Salu Lawrence, Wei Salu. Boga Lawrence, Bao Jia. Astrid Punivalu, 24科。William Punivalu， 威廉。Carmen Schuster， 14科。杰尼乌文的吴文登。
CEO.
Agnes Wong Soon， 艾乐一。And our last student to present is Matthew Wong Soon, Wang Tianfu.
尊重的建筑大师阁下，晚上好，我叫阿斯特，今年14岁。我和弟弟上中文课的时候，我问父母，我们为什么要学中文？他们说有3个原因。妈妈说，第一，汉语是未来的语言。也是一种生活技能。爸爸说，第二，你的梦想是成为一名医生， 中国人会帮你从中国弄到医疗器械和药品。父母一起说。第三，你弟弟想当工程师，中国人会帮他从中国弄来中型机械设备，也希望他会找个中国老婆。尊重的尊重大师阁下，我代表我们 A 和 B 班毕业生，感谢您让我们在自己的国家学习你的语言。Heather 和 Brandon 老师，感谢您对我们武术的问题的无尽耐心。对于我们中文 B 班的毕业生，我和弟弟非常感谢你们在课堂上对我们的照顾。Deputy Head of Mission, Counselor of the Chinese Embassy in Samoa, Your Excellency, Mr. Cheng Jun. Vice Chancellor of the National University of Samoa, Afionga Ayono Professor Alec Ikiroma. Deputy Vice Chancellor of the National University of Samoa, Afionga Pisita Dr. Desmond Lee Hang. Dean of Faculty of Arts of the National University of Samoa, Afionga Sawia Dr. Louise Matai Amilo. Families and friends. Good evening. My name is Astrid and I am 14 years old. When my brother and I enrolled in Chinese classes, I asked my parents, why are we learning Chinese? 3 reasons, they said. 1, Chinese is the language of the future and it is a life skill, my mom said. 2, we dream of becoming a doctor and Chinese will help you access healthcare instruments and medicine from China, my dad said. 3, your brother wants to be an engineer and Chinese will help him access heavy machinery and equipment from China and hopefully find a Chinese wife, my parents said. Mr. Ambassador, on behalf of Chinese classes A and B graduates, thank you for enabling us to learn your language in our own country. Heather and Brandon, thank you for your endless patience with our endless questions. Our families and friends, thank you for supporting our journeys and celebrating with us now. Our Chinese Class B graduates, my brother and I thank you very much for looking out for us during class. Xie xie, fafzaite lava, and have a good evening.
On behalf of Heather and I, we wish to express our gratitude towards the University of Samoa and Confucius Institute for its endless support during our time as Chinese language teachers. This will always be a worthwhile experience for the both of us to be able to work with and influence many amazing people. We would like to thank the Vice Chancellor, Iono Professor Alec Roma, Deputy Vice Chancellor Peseta, Sawia, Dean of the Faculty of Arts, and Lafayette Tele, Head of Department of English and Foreign Languages for your supportiveness and your guidance at the time in the US. We also like to thank Dr. Liang Guojie of the Confucius Institute, who despite not being here, is always contacting us and supporting us from his side. Also, thank you to the organizers of this ceremony and for the effort you put in preparing the venue for today's graduation. Lastly, thank you, students, for your participation, eagerness, and patience in trying to learn a language that is foreign to you. It is with great pleasure and with great honor that I am your teacher for your community. It has been a very good journey for both of us. Thank you. 谢谢大家。